Hey, how's it going everyone? MLT Magic Tricks here. So in this video, I'm going to be performing and then teaching you this really awesome no setup card trick that has a powerful ending. So make sure you stick around to learn this one. But before we get into the performance, if you are new here to my channel, make sure you subscribe with those post notifications on for more card and magic trick performance and tutorial videos like this one. And also I launched an online store for you guys that sells a variety of magic tricks and essential items for any magician. It is called Infinite Magic Tricks, and the link will be in the description to infiniteMagicTricks.com. So make sure you check that out if you are interested. And now let's get right into the performance. Okay, so I would start off this trick by having my spectator shuffle the deck as much as they want. Once they're done shuffling, I would explain to my spectator that we are going to be using 27 cards for this trick, and I'm going to begin by making 3 piles of cards, each containing 9 cards. So I'm going to make the 3 piles just like this, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9 cards right here in pile 3. So now we have 3 piles of cards, each containing 9. And I would ask my spectator to choose one of these piles, go through the cards to themselves, and memorize one. So let's say my spectator chooses this pile. They go through the cards to themselves here, and they focus and memorize on one card and one card only. They don't change it at all. So let's say my spectator is thinking of the 2 of hearts right here. So that is going to be their selection, the 2 of hearts. They are only going to know that. The magician is not going to know the card. And we're going to go ahead and lose my spectator's pile into this pack. I could even have my spectator shuffle this pack at this point to really mix up the cards and lose their selection in this pile. So once my spectator is done shuffling, the magician is going to take back the cards and deal out the 27 cards onto the table in 3 piles, just like this. So we're going to deal out all of the cards on the table. Once the magician is done dealing, the magician would ask the spectator to guess as to which pile contains their card. So let's say the spectator guesses this pile. They're going to go through and take a look. In this case, it is not in this one, so they're just going to go to the other 2. They're just going to find the pile that has their card, so their selection must be in this one. Once again, the spectator is the only one that knows the card at this point. So the spectator sees their card. They tell the magician it's in this pile. So we're going to go ahead and do this again. I'm going to deal out the cards onto the table. We're going to follow this pattern again here. So once the magician is done dealing, the spectator is going to guess again as to which pile has their card. So let's say they guess this final pile right here. They go through, they look for their selection. They do see it in this one in this case. So we're going to do this one final time here, guys. We're going to deal out the cards onto the table. Once we have done this for the final time, we're going to do the same thing here. The spectator is going to guess as to which pile has their card. So let's say the spectator guesses this pile over here this time. They look, and they do see it in this one. So once we are done doing this for the last time, we are going to collect all the cards. I would have my spectator now cut around 2/3 of this pile here. So they are just going to cut over the cards. Let's say they cut this amount right here. We're going to only deal with the amount of cards that my spectator cut. We're going to get rid of the other pile of cards here. Now, the magician is going to deal out the cards onto the table in sort of this cross pattern here. So I'm going to make 4 of these, and whichever cards we have left over, we'll just get rid of. So we're going to deal out the cards onto the table here into kind of this cross pattern. We're going to make 4 of them. And if we have some cards left over, in this case we just have 1, we're going to get rid of it. So I'm going to try to get all these on the screen here. So as you can see, we have 4 different piles. I would ask my spectator just to touch 2 of the piles. They would just tell me the top 2 or the bottom 2. Let's say my spectator says the top 2. I would say, okay, we're going to keep the top 2, and we're going to get rid of these other ones here. We're going to put these cards on the top of the deck. We don't need them anymore. So now we're left with 2 piles here. I would just ask my spectator to point to one. So let's say they point to this one. I would say, okay, we're going to get rid of this one. We do not want this pile anymore. And we are only going to deal with the 4 cards remaining. This is the pile that we ended with. So keep in mind, the magician still does not know the spectator's card. They don't know where it is. They don't know what it is. We do have 4 cards here left on the table. Now, I would ask my spectator to take their 2 hands and just cover 2 cards here with their hands. So let's say my spectator covers these 2. I would say, okay, we're going to go ahead and get rid of these that you covered. We are left with 2 cards only. Now, I'll tell them just to point to one. They can just point to either one of the 2. It doesn't matter. It's completely up to them. So let's say the spectator points to this one. I would say, okay, perfect. You point to this one. We're going to keep it. We're going to get rid of this one. Now, guys, check out the final card that we ended on. This is not just any card. it should be our selection right here, the 2 of hearts. So guys, that is the trick. I'm going to be teaching a variety of ways you can end it off, so make sure you stick around for the tutorial to learn how to perform this amazing card trick. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed that performance. This is a really great no setup self-working style card trick that basically just involves Magician's Choice. There are a couple ways you can end it off, which I will be teaching in the tutorial. So all you need is a deck of cards. You start off by having your spectator shuffle a deck as much as they want to. This is a completely no setup trick. Once they're done shuffling, you are going to explain to your spectator that you are going to be using 27 cards for this trick. You're going to go ahead and make 3 piles, each containing 9 cards, to make a total of 27. So you can just take these from the top. These are all random cards. You're going to make your 3 piles, each containing 9 cards. Once you have done this, you're going to get rid of the rest of the deck. You're only going to be using the cards on the table. You're going to have your spectator choose one of the 3 piles. They're going to look through it and memorize one card only. So let's say the spectator chooses this one. They look through the cards themselves and they memorize one card. So let's say they were thinking of the Ace of Spades. That is the card that we're going to use for the tutorial here. So once your spectator has memorized the card, you're going to tell them to just place their pile of cards on either one of the 2, and you're just going to lose their pile into this pack of cards here. And the really cool thing here, guys, is you can give this pack over to your spectator and they can shuffle it up as much as they want to. You're not doing any control or any type of sleight of hand with the deck at this point. You're going to have your spectator completely shuffle up the cards. Once they're done shuffling, you're going to ask for the pack back, and you are going to now deal out the cards onto the table. So this is really important here. Each time you deal the cards, you need to start in the same position. So to make it easiest, you can just go left to right or right to left. Just make sure you follow that pattern throughout. So we're going to go ahead and go left to right. So you're just going to deal out the cards onto the table. You're going to deal them all out. You're going to, again, have 3 piles, each containing 9 cards. At this point, you do not know what your spectator's card is. You don't know where it is, which is really cool. They are the only ones who know what their card is. So once you are done dealing out the 27 cards the first time, you're going to ask your spectator just to guess as to which pile has their card. It does not matter. So let's say they guess this one. In this case, their selection is not in this pile. So if it's not, you're just going to have them move over to the next one. You just need to locate the pile that has their card. They're just going to be looking through. They're going to see, okay, it's in this one. They're going to tell you their card is in this pile. Now, this is very important, guys. Here's what you need to do. So you're going to take the pile that has their card. You're going to place it on top of either one of the other 2 on the table, and you need to keep their pile on top. So when you bring this over, their pile is still on top. You're just going to place it on top of the other one. Make sure you do that throughout the times you are dealing the cards on the table. I'll explain that again here. So once we get to that part in the trick. So once you've done that the first time, you're going to tell your spectator, okay, we're going to do this again. So this is round number 2 of you dealing the cards on the table. Again, make sure you start left to right. If you did that the first time, you need to stick with that pattern of dealing the cards on the table. Once you are done dealing the cards again, you're going to have your spectator do the same thing. They're going to take a guess. Let's say they guess their card is in the middle here. They're going to look through the cards. They're going to see that it's not in this one. You're going to ask your spectator to go ahead and check out another pile. They're going to look through. Oh, not in this one, so it must be in this one here. Your spectator's going to confirm. They're going to see their selection is in this pile. You're going to say, okay, we're going to collect the cards. You need to be doing this part. Remember, their pile needs to stay on top. So you're just going to go boom, boom. Their pile stays on top. You're going to do this one final time. So you're going to be dealing the cards on the table 3 times. This is the 3rd and final time right now. Same thing, left to right. You're going to follow this pattern. Make it a little repetitive to your spectator, but it's not too bad because it's only 27 cards, and you're going to tell them that the 3rd time is the final time. So once you are done doing it the last time, you do need to locate which pile has their card. They're going to look through the cards again. Boom, they say it's in this first one. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to pick it up, place it on top, keep their pile on top just like that. Now, here, at this point, once you do that every single time, their card will be in the 7th position from the top of this pack. So just to double check here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and check out the 7th card. It is their selection. If you follow those steps correctly with the 27 cards, every single time, their card will be in the 7th position from the top, which is really cool. It's a really cool part of this self-working trick. This card trick definitely has a self-working component. Now at this point, this is what I like to do. You're gonna have your spectator, they can cut around 2/3 of this pile. You just need to keep their selection in play basically. So they cut 2/3. It doesn't really matter here. You can even be like a half. Just make sure they cut more than 7 cards. You're gonna get rid of the cards in the bottom portion here, you're just going to be dealing with the cards that they dealt. You still know their card is in the 7th position. And you guys, I'm going to teach 2 ways you can end off the trick. So you can do what I did in the performance. You deal the cards kind of in this cross pattern. You're keeping track of how many you're dealing. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7 right here. You know this is their card. You're just going to deal out the rest here like this. So you kind of make this cross pattern. You do it 4 times, so you have 4 different piles. Whatever cards you're left over with, you get rid of them. And you're going to ask your spectator now just to choose 2. You're doing Magician's Choice here, so you need to keep this pile in play because their selection is right here. So just ask your spectator to say top or bottom. Let's say they say bottom. You're going to say, okay, we're going to get rid of these. If they said the top 2, you'd say, okay, we're going to keep those. So obviously, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Magician's Choice. You just get rid of these cards. You're going to do the same thing. Just tell them to touch one of the 2 piles. If they touch this one, you keep it. If they touch this one, you get rid of it. And you're left with 4 cards. Make sure you're keeping track of where their card is. So as you spread them out, keep an eye on it. You can have your spectator cover 2 with their hand, and then you just eliminate the cards that are not theirs. If they covered these 2, you'd say, okay, we're going to keep them. You just need to end off with their selection. When you get to the final 2, you can have your spectator place their hands over it. Tell them to lift one up. If they lift this, boom, their card. Tell them to get rid of it. If they lift this, you're going to say, okay, we're going to get rid of this card, and boom, we have ended off with your selection. So that is a really cool way of doing the trick. It just, involves Magician's Choice there. I'm going to do one other way really quickly here, guys. So you have your spectator's card in the 7th position, just like this. You can spread out the card to your spectator, keep track of where their card is. Boom, it's in the 7th position there. You get a little pinky break below it. You cut their card to the bottom, like this. And you guys can do this pattern up, down, every other card. And once you do this, you can ask your spectator which pile of cards you want to eliminate. You can make them eliminate a pile. You can say top or bottom. If they eliminate the top, you just get rid of it. Their card is not on the top. But let's say they want to eliminate the bottom. Their card's on the bottom. All you need to do is push their card up with your index finger on the bottom. It's going to be concealed. You move it to the top, and then you get rid of the bottom portion of cards just like this. You get rid of them, and their card has remained in the deck. You can just follow this until you get to their card at the end. So that's just another way of doing it. Let's say they want to eliminate the top. Their card's on top. Do not worry. Slide it down with your index finger, kind of conceal it. Get rid of the top portion of cards, and you've just kept their card in play. And then you guys can put them all on the table and do your Magician's Choice to end off with their selection. So just play around with it. Just know once you follow those steps, you get your spectator's card into the 7th position from the top of the pile of cards there, and you end off doing Magician's Choice to get their selection here on the end. Your spectator will be completely confused that you ended with their card. It does have a very powerful effect. All right, guys, I'm going to stop talking. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope the tutorial made sense, and I'll see you all in my next one. Peace out.